Oh baby, where we they go? Now forward ever, backward never. Them they pray make we run down, never, 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 never. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move they never know. They never know. Go too rough, so you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna wait in this up. It's not blessing, I'ma no be luck. Baby, nobody feel there like you. I said nobody feel make me feel the way you do. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know. They never know. My lady, you know me, no fi give up on you never. Wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go? Now forward ever, backward never. Them they pray make we run down, never, 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 never. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know. They never know. Without you, baby, the journey go too rough. So you know, girl, I be feeling this love. Even when I'm down, you wanna wait in this up. It's not blessing, I'ma no be luck. Baby, nobody feel there like you. I said nobody feel make me feel the way you do. I'ma get that low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check low. Girl, you the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. They never know. They never know. You never know.
There we go. We're online. Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We're back on the Hohner YouTube channel. I'm glad because in the meantime, I mean, between the last live stream and this one, the Hohner YouTube channel got hacked, and we couldn't log in anymore. But it's restored and nothing got lost. So fantastic to be back with episode 164 of the Hohner Live interview series. And yeah, let us know from where you're tuning in the chat. Excited about today because tonight we're going to talk to the very first time. Oh yeah, that's the preview music over there. Tonight's guest is Mumbai-born San Jose-based harmonica player Aki Kumar. And yeah, he's a fantastic Chicago blues player. Developed his own sound, his own Bollywood blues sound, and I'm excited to talk to him about his latest album and the Spa convention he visited a few days ago and stuff like that. And you're also a Hohner artist, so yeah, welcome to this Hohner Live, and thank you for taking the time.
Well, thank you, my friend. Great to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And yeah, I was just at Spa. Had a lot of fun. I wish I could have stayed longer. I was just there for a day and a half.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I got to see a lot of great harmonica players and meet a lot of people that I'm sure you and I both admire. You know, hopefully I'll get to do it again soon. And thank you to Hohner, and thank you for inviting me, because I've very recently started playing Hohners again.
Oh yeah, that's what you told me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was invited to play these custom harmonicas by a friend of mine, Kenya Pollard, who lives right here. I don't know if you know him personally.
I've heard about his name. Yeah.
He is a great customizer, and he built me some Hohner-based harpsmith, is what he calls his custom harps, and he built me these rocket-based. I mean, it says harpsmith, obviously, but it's a rocket-based harmonica with a custom comb. And so I've just recently, in the last year and a half, two, kind of been playing Hohner harmonicas live, and so thank you for the invite.
Nice. I mean, I'm sure you've been to Spa several times.
No,
during the past years.
I've only been to Spa once in 2009, and it's been 17 years. 17 years.
That's crazy. Why is that?
To be absolutely honest, I get overwhelmed a bit when there's a lot of the same thing that happens.
Yeah.
And it's and with Spa, it is like intense. You know, like a long time ago in Finland, I did the Finnish tradition of going to the sauna and then jumping into a frozen lake. You know, your body goes into shock. And with Spa, with 50 harmonica, like the moment you walk into the hotel lobby, there's 50 harmonica players playing. And over 5 days, that can get to me. But there's other people who get rejuvenated, and you know, that's a wonderful experience for them. And this time around, I had a very really nice experience. So who knows? Maybe I'll go back next year.
Yeah. So how was the convention for you? Like just being there for 1.5 days. Like what stood out to you?
First, I got to reconnect with a lot of people, like in 2 seconds. I was walking through the lobby. I hadn't even gotten to my room, and I ran into the legendary Lee Oscar, who I hadn't seen in 14 years. Last time we shared the stage at one of Mark Hummel's harmonica blowouts. That's the last time I saw him. So it was really good, because you run into people like that, Joe Filisko, and I'd never met Peter Mad Cat Ruth in person. I'd been a fan of his forever, so it was good to meet him in person. A lot of the younger players who have tremendous online support and who have built them, their presence online. There's a young gentleman named Kieran, I think his name, if I'm pronouncing right, Kieran Allen.
Yeah.
I got to see him. There's a young Indian harmonica player named Rohan. I got to meet him too.
Yeah.
I got to see some of these players play at the jams, and it was good to meet people you've known about but never really seen in action live. It's a different experience.
Yeah, I mean these harmonica events are special all the time, And
Yeah.
I mean, was the 2009 edition like the very first time you went to a harmonica event like this?
No, I had been to workshops before
Okay.
because my start in San Jose was even playing harmonica was by going to a workshop. There was at the time, you're talking about 2004, 2003-ish. David Barrett, I don't know if you've met him, but he's one of the
Yeah, of
really
course.
well-known teachers here in San Jose, and he was just right here, 10 minutes from where I live in San Jose, and he
Yeah.
would do these workshops downtown, and you'd go there. There'd be 50 harmonica students, and there'd be a half a dozen amazing players, blues players mostly, like Rick Estrin or Jerry Portnoy, and locally in San Jose, Gary Smith, Andy Just. So I got my start going to these kinds of events, but there it was more of a student-teacher environment, very
Mm.
defined. You had a bunch of students, there were a bunch of teachers. When I went to Spa the first time, it was just like a free-for-all, and I couldn't. I suppose in 2009 I couldn't find my footing. I didn't know what I was seeking because I already had good teachers. Um, but this time around it was different because they flew me out there to play during their blues night. I was one of the performers, so I think I went there with a different kind of expectation. Maybe I was more relaxed,
Oh
who
yeah.
knows? I mean, I'm older now, so maybe I'm just a little bit wiser about going to
Yeah.
harmonica conventions.
Yeah, I mean that's the path, like from visiting those first harmonica events and being a student of the instrument and to being one of the featured performers, right?
I suppose. Yeah, yeah.
And at least for the festivals, I mean, that was also my first experience. It was special to me. For me, it was like visiting the harmonica masters workshops in Hohner town Trossingen, where I met Steve Baker for the first time and all those players, and of course David Barrett. After seeing them online on YouTube only, and that's special. Like you arrive and then you just see your heroes in front of you and not on the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I met Steve Baker at the same place in 2008, and it was wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful to chat with him, wonderful to hear him play. He's just an excellent guy.
yeah, fantastic. So going all the way back to Mumbai, like how long did you stay there, and what did music sound like?
Oh,
In
oh, I grew up there, so my entirety of my childhood or, teenage years, early adulthood
yeah.
were in Mumbai.
So yeah,
And
that's why I wanted to ask you, like, what kind of music was playing when you were
oh,
growing up in the household?
all kinds of music. So in the 80s, because I'm an 80s kid, in the 80s it was mostly Bollywood music, which was, you know, music from Indian movies,
Yeah,
but not just 1980s Bollywood music. Back then, we didn't have too much access to Western media as such. You had one TV station that was the state TV station, as I'm sure it was the case with many countries in Europe too at the time. And you had one or two radio stations that were playing music, and
yeah,
they'd play music from Bollywood songbook from all eras, from the 50s through the 80s. So you got to listen to what was considered classic retro Bollywood, the hits, the legendary songs, and you got to hear current pop songs. But my dad was also a bit of a music aficionado, so he had a very small collection of music, but it was very eclectic. And through that, I got to listen secondhand from through his music collection. I got to listen to Western pop, Stevie Wonder, just a little bit of Beatles,
yeah,
John Denver. There was some Afro-Caribbean music. There was a band called O.C. Bisa who I remember this band and the songs, small things that stick in your head. And then he listened to a lot of classical, so Mozart, and he didn't have any understanding of it, like from a formal education point of view. He just liked listening to it. So I would listen to that too, Beethoven and all that stuff. And then he liked listening to and he still does. He still likes listening to Indian classical, Hindustani and Carnatic, which are very deep and established musical traditions. So even though I didn't grow up in a musician's household, I was listening to music. And then in the 90s, India became like a more liberated economy. So all of a sudden, we went from one TV station to you can watch
Oh yeah.
50 TV stations, and now all of a sudden MTV is around, and now you're listening to a lot more Western music. And suddenly one aspect of Western music that, such as bass lines which weren't part of Bollywood music maybe that much at the time, suddenly start popping out, and I'm starting to hear harmonies, and so my whole entirety of my musical childhood was really listening to a lot of great music and going, ah, ah, ah. Uh, I never got the chance to really earnestly pursue it. I tried, I dabbled here and there, but in India at the time, you were really education was the only way to get ahead, if you can call it that. So I never took it seriously until I um, came to the U.S. and then found Dave Barrett in my 20s.
Oh yeah. So there was a harmonica in India already.
There was one, yeah, a tremolo.
Or a tremolo, yeah.
I always try to remember the brand. I do not remember it.
Yeah.
A very old harmonica. It may have been a Chinese brand called Swan, or I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it was a tremolo. It didn't bend. And I knew enough about music to know that I need 12 notes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get them. So I was playing certain like nursery rhymes. I couldn't get single notes. So after a while, I just said, this is useless. There was a small a 2-octave battery Casio keyboard that I'd gotten as a gift. So I'd play that, and that was much more satisfying. But, after a while, you run out of 2 octaves, and no one was teaching me, so I gave up on that too.
Yeah.
But all of that was like a setting. It set me up for my 20s when I finally had access to real good teachers and good harmonicas.
Yeah, you remember like the first blues harp you ever got?
It was a Hohner. Yeah, I do. What's it called? It's a plastic comb and it's curved. It's not a marine band.
A gold melody.
It's a golden melody. I had a golden melody.
Okay.
That's the first blues harp I had, and I tried to play songs from a John Mayall album someone had given me
Yeah.
at the time. And I couldn't play. I couldn't bend. I kind of got a bend, and I thought I was the greatest harmonica player on the planet when I like maybe half bent a note. But I couldn't play like John Mayall, and I really, it was not until David Barrett, I went to one of his workshops that I realized, holy crap, this is a totally different instrument than I acknowledged and gave it credit for.
Yeah. So John Mayer was sort of like the first time you heard harmonica consciously on a record?
Blues harmonica.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Before that, I had heard harmonica because even in older Bollywood songs, they would have some harmonica parts.
Oh, and that was conscious also. Like you knew, like, oh, okay, that's harmonica.
Absolutely did. Oh yeah. I was quite aware, and in fact, in the '90s, John, the famous band Blues Traveler. I'd seen Blues Traveler songs when I was in India with Run Around, and that was insane. I mean, at the time, imagine in India, you've only heard Bollywood songs being played kind of like, that kind of harmonica playing, kind of like folksy. And then you hear Blues Traveler, and you go, what in the heck? This is like rocket-powered, right? So all of it seemed like a mystery that I was not equipped to solve. And so I gave up mentally on this instrument. I said, I need serious education to figure this one out. And I didn't bother to do it until I ran into David Barrett. And then it all just kind of made sense.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, you didn't move to America to become a musician at all initially, right?
No, that was not even a realistic option. I mean,
what did you imagine your life to be like at that point?
I was half decent at programming at the time, software engineering.
Yeah.
And I was like coding up little games and stuff because we had a computer lab in the school that I was attending when I was 16, and so I would spend time on that kind of thing, and I figured, oh, this is cool because it was an outlet for creativity. I didn't realize that at the time. It just seemed like a cool thing, but really what it was a very direct way for me to be creative. And so when I came to the US, it was specifically to be a software engineer. That's what I did. I worked as a software engineer. Having that kind of money is what allowed me to pay for lessons, music lessons,
Yeah.
and buy harmonicas, and even pretend that I was a musician. So until my early 30s, I had a day job, and I was basically playing music in a band on the side. Like you and I talked about, doing gigs locally in town.
Yeah.
And playing on the weekends and doing all of that stuff. Now, I was pretty serious in my pursuit, but I didn't have the same kind of time to invest in it until I didn't have the day job anymore. So my original expectation coming to the U.S. was I'm just gonna, manage to, if I'm lucky, go through this very uh, complicated visa process, maybe someday get my green card, and maybe someday become a citizen, get more settled, get a house, uh, and all the basic steps of adulthood that your mom and dad expect and hope that you will accomplish someday. So that was what was in my head, and music was always, oh yeah, that's for the real guys
Yeah.
who've been playing since they were 3 years old. Like gymnasts, they train hard when they're 4 years old. So I figured that was for those people. But thankfully, I found, again, I cannot thank enough my good fortune that I found a great teacher very close to where I lived. It was a huge
Oh, yeah.
motivator. Also, a very good blues scene on the West Coast in California, where I could go to these clubs, and watch great players play, like from 10 feet away, and go, oh, that's what it's supposed to sound like. It really
I
helped.
see. Yeah. Is there any advice you could give to? I mean, maybe there's somebody out there with a day job and wanting to take music more seriously. Like,
Oh,
any
well,
ideas
if they
on
have
that?
a day job, well, congratulations, because I'm not sure how they even have a day job anymore. It seems like all the day jobs are going away these days. So, congratulations. Hold on to the day job. And if you do, put some money aside, because we don't know where the world is headed, especially in the creative sense, in the world of art, media, music. It's changing so quickly. What used to be a very predictable and steady way of presenting your art is changing by the minute. And so as a live musician, I have to hustle and work really hard to keep myself self-employed, right? So my advice would be pace yourself, keep music active on the side, keep that light burning, keep that candle burning.
Yeah.
And I always say, even if you can do 10 minutes a day, even that is great. If it's a focused 10 minutes of investment in your art, even if it's 10 minutes of listening, consuming the art, right? Do that and keep that burning until a moment arrives, an opportunity opens up that you can really go for it. That's how I did it. I spent years just kind of pacing myself and testing the waters to see if I was ready for it, if it was ready for me.
Yeah.
Some people like to dive into the deep end. I'm not that guy. I'm not that kind of a risk taker, and I never had the luxury of doing that. So everybody is different. Circumstances are different. But if you still have a day job and you want to keep holding on to that, don't let go of the arts. Do it every day, and somehow, somewhere, the universe will find a way for you.
There's a question by Andre. I have a cool question. Why Jason Ritchie called you Cookie Amour?
Oh, okay. Thank you for calling me mustache, gentlemen. No one's called me that. I like it. It gives me an identity. I was in Finland one time No, I wasn't in Finland, although this is related to Finland. I was in Finland and in Sweden with the same band I'm about to mention. There's a very well-established blues band in Sweden called Trick Bag, and they have a great guitar player from Finland named Tommy Leno. And Tommy and Trick Bag were touring the USA, specifically California, about 10 or 11 years ago, and they hired me as the harmonica player. It's usually this great harmonica player in the UK named Steve Weston, who I admire a lot. But for some reason, that tour they didn't have him, and I was the guy. And so I had just met Tommy Leno, and he had just met me. And at some point, we'd retired to our hotel rooms. We were supposed to meet at the van in a few hours. I was late getting to the van, and apparently Tommy was looking around asking everybody, because he couldn't remember my name was Aki Kumar. He was asking everybody where Cookie Amor was.
Mm-hmm.
And that really funny, mess up of my name kind of stuck. So I went from Aki Kumar to Cookie Amor, which, it's not a bad name.
It is recognizable, yeah.
It is recognizable like my mustache.
Nice. I mean, with David Barrett, I think you had like one of the most structured blues harmonica teachers out there. I mean, there are a lot of players out there who also teach, but aren't that good at teaching as he is.
Yes, I absolutely agree. He's first, a lot of people may not realize he is an absolute beast of a player. Most people know he's a great teacher, but I have seen him live. He is an impeccable player, and he is one of the best teachers I have ever had in on any subject. Through all of my schooling, the guy is absolutely like a monk. So again, my good fortune, because when I landed, I remember the first lesson I took with him. I had harmonicas in a plastic bag. Because I didn't know, there's no harmonica cases. I mean, the internet was just added. There was no YouTube, and so I had, I think, 4 or 5 different brands that I had, just random stuff, different keys, and I went in. I'd been kind of dabbling for 6 months, kind of half bending, trying to play this and that, and he goes, "Can you play?" I said, "I think I can play blues," and he said, "Okay, show me." So he plays a jam track, and I start playing, and I had a harmonica. I think it was a G harmonica, and I can't bend this. I cannot bend this harmonica. It's like the moment I try to bend it, just chokes, and I'm getting air.
Yeah.
And so I go, something's not right. I pull out another one, and I try to play it, and it's not bending great like I was bending at home. Where I was a hotshot at home. I was like a rock star at home, but suddenly in front of this teacher, I can't do anything. And I tell him, something's wrong with my harmonica. And he goes, "It's not the harmonica."
Yeah.
And then he shows me a bend. He shows me how to do a steady, even bend. And I go, okay, I'm going to shut up and just listen to him, which was a really good way for me to be very instantly humbled and realize that there's a lot of, there's a learning curve in the harmonica world that most people don't appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's special. I get a similar feeling now because, like, 3 days ago, I got myself a ney, a flute. So I'm starting out on that. And it's like also, it's missing notes and like the different registers. Like, it's like, you can't get the notes immediately. Like, you got to practice. It's like on harmonica, getting the bends and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's interesting for me now after, I don't know, 16 years, having this feeling again.
It's a good way to reset.
Shit, I can't get that note.
Yeah, it's a good way. I've been since the pandemic, I've been playing drums.
Yeah.
And I'm not a drummer, but I've been trying to seriously, pursue this, and it's totally different from harmonica, but it puts my body to musical work, and my mind to musical work in a totally different way. And I feel so stupid sometimes, because even the simplest things that I take for granted on the harmonica, I cannot do on the drums.
Yeah.
Right? Rhythmically. I think it's a good thing for musicians who've been doing, like you and I have been playing for a couple of decades now, to reset that whole process and start afresh. I'm doing that on the harmonica too. I've been dabbling in, I'm a traditional blues player, so I do first, second, third. Really, that's my normal go-to positions. But I've been trying to play fourth position just to kind of get my brain out of a rut.
Yeah.
And it's tricky because I keep going back to my normal licks when I shouldn't, right? In a different position. So I totally admire that you're doing that, chasing a different instrument.
It's good. Now I'm getting into it. Like I also want to do some percussion stuff, and it's
Well,
cool.
let's start a band. You play flute, I'll play drums. And neither one of us will make any money.
I guess so too.
I see a question about sixth position. No,
Have you ever tried sixth position?
no. I'm going numerically 1, 2, 3. I'm currently on 4, Andre. Then next will be 5, which I think is also minor position, good for minor blues, I think.
Yeah.
Although I've not really explored it. And then sixth will show up at some point and kick my ass.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. Sixth position is like works for minor stuff. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people playing like country tuned harmonicas use it a lot because they got the fifth on the 5/0 draw then. So it's easy, sort of. Maybe there's like one song on a Joe Felisko record that's actually in sixth position.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm sure Joe has played just about every position there is. That guy is a genius.
Yeah.
So it just takes me a long time to reset my brain. I'm a slow learner when it comes to changing my habits. And the positions really force me. Like even doing fourth position, and the reason I did it was because it was easy. What I had not accidentally, I'd kind of wandered into this workshop that was being taught by Todd Parrott. I don't know if you've met him. He's a really great player, and he plays. I mean, he plays gospel, but guy can play whatever he wants. And he was talking about fourth position, and one of the things that I remember from that 20 minutes of listening to him was he said, "Hey, if you know how to play major scale on the harmonica, in the key of the harmonica, then this is just the relative minor of that. So whatever skill you may have playing the major scale, the movement, muscle movement applies to this." And I went, "Aha! This is easy because I already know this." So I'm lazy. So I thought, "Oh, this is easy. Let me try and do this." But it's not easy because now you got to start and stop differently. Your chord tones are at different positions. Your licks, even though you may be moving mechanically the same way, you cannot think of them the same way.
Yeah.
And that puts pressure on my feeble mind to work harder. So now I'm trying to work harder so that I get more natural, so that in the future I don't have to work hard in fourth position, that it becomes just fluid, right? So every additional thing is a burden for me. So I take things very slowly. Sixth position is going to be maybe 20 years from now. We'll be doing a Zoom call on Mars, and you'll ask me about sixth position. I'll go, "Yeah, I'm just starting to play it."
How about like transcribing stuff? Did that play a huge role in you learning to play?
Yes and no. No. When I started, Dave really recommended that I transcribe solos that I wanted to learn, which is a very good recommendation. But I was lazy about it. I remember doing it a few times and going, it's too much work.
Yeah.
So I tended to want to play by ear, which is also a good skill. It's not a bad skill. One of the things I will mention this, because you brought it up and I haven't thought about this for a while. When I first started playing here in San Jose, because the blues is like a very traditional genre, there's always generations of, I'm sure jazz is the same way. There's older generations are around when you start playing and those older generations learned from older generations. So in San Jose, there's been a lot of harmonica for a while, and so the old guys were around, and some of them, to be honest, were not particularly pleased that a guy like David Barrett even existed, because David brought this very education-oriented approach to what was not available to them in the
No.
70s or 60s when they were starting to play. So there was this innate hostility towards even simple things like transcribing. And I remember trying to explain to them, I said, look, I don't listen to Little Walter and then run to a transcription to try to play it. But Dave's transcriptions are so good that if there is a small half bend that I am not picking up from the record, I can reference the transcription and go, oh, there's a little thing here that I have not been able to pick up with my natural ear, right? So I use the transcription as a support mechanism to enhance my learning process and my listening. So that's how I have used transcriptions, and I hope. And you know, everybody again is different, wired. Everybody's wired differently. Everybody learns differently. But I do think transcriptions are a good thing, and they have been useful to me, although I haven't relied on them very heavily. And these days I absolutely don't do it because I tend to want to hear things and chase my ear.
Yeah. I mean, I also experienced this, like, because your ears develop, and like I played a saxophone solo or transcribed it and recorded it, and everything was rhythmically right. But then, like, coming back to it a few years later, wanting to play it again, I noticed, oh, I mean, he's playing something completely different over there. You know?
And that's not a bad thing, because two things have happened there. And this is exact thing has happened to me too. In fact, nowadays I go back and I'll pick the oldest Sonny Boy Williamson, for instance, record I listen to and go back to it and I hear it completely differently, right? So going back to a transcription is the same way, because you've built your own sound based on what you heard. Clearly, you heard it differently. But now going back, you're going to just enhance what is already a very cool original sound you've built up with the real kind of thing. So it only makes things better, I think. The more educational tools you use, I think, the better of a musician you're going to be.
Yeah, there's Mr. Blink of an Eye. Aki, you're my best blues harp player. Do you tongue block every note you play?
Yeah, I do, and that's just because very early on in my lessons, David Barrett in front of me switched from pucker to tongue block, even though I will say he had no reason to. His tone as a pucker player was quite good. It was really good. And he was also doing a lot of the tongue block effects. He could do octaves, everything you needed. But he had wanted to do it. So I saw him do it, and he just did it in a few months. And I went, well, if he's doing it, I got to do it. So I did it.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't think I'm a natural harmonica player like he is. Some people just, I think, genetically take to a certain thing. I take more time. So it took me longer to really get comfortable. And when I got comfortable, I found that I couldn't pucker anymore. So for years, everything I've been doing, including, people ask me they ask me about two things. They go, are you playing blow bends tongue blocked? Yes, I am. They go, are you playing hole number one tongue blocked? Yes, I am. I switched my tongue to the other side. That took a while too.
Yeah.
But that said, I have been, again, 5 minutes a day, I'm trying to get back into pucker playing because I really want to get a Junior Wells kind of sound going in certain passages of play, which I cannot get. I absolutely cannot get with tongue block on. It's only possible with pucker, really fast kind of attack. I've seen you do it, Konstantin. I saw a really cool video that popped up the other day on Instagram where you were showing all the levels or different effects. I don't remember what it was, but you had like numbers, number one, number two.
Different harmonica techniques, yeah.
Yes, and at one point you went fast, I don't know what you call it, but it went just like a machine gun. There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to do that with a tongue block, right? And so I want to be able to get back to doing those things, So yes, I'm tongue blocked, but trust me, I'm gonna get back to pucker. I promise you. 20 years from now, you're gonna hear me and you go, "Oh, he's playing pucker on Mars."
You seem to be obsessed with Mars.
It's the future, apparently.
Exactly. There's Marcus Call in the chat. Hey, I wrote it before from my other account. I was saying greetings from me at Emiliano Juarez. We are home in Berlin and tomorrow to play another harmonica festival. Yeah.
That's great, man. Hey, how you doing, Marcos? I'm sorry I missed you. I was in Berlin for half a minute, and then I realized you weren't in Berlin at the time, so we missed each other. But great to hear from you, man.
Yeah. What is the best advice you ever got from David?
Oh, wow. I don't think there's just um, one bit of advice. There's been so much good advice. You know, when you hang out with somebody that's a really deeply invested musician and a teacher like David or Phyllis or whatever, it's not just one thing. It's the entirety of how they are. And what I have seen him do exceptionally well, especially when he's in the process of transcription, he would slow down the music to as slow as he needed it to be. If he was trying to learn something new, he just slow it down. At the time, he had a CD player that was a specialized CD player where you could slow it down and play it back without losing the pitch.
Yeah.
And I saw him do this. One time I think I went to him with a John Popper song, and I was like, "What the hell?" And he goes, "Look, this is major scale stuff, and it sounds crazy, but if you slow it, it makes sense." And so I saw him do that. He would slow it, and then he would just loop it like a crazy person. He would just go over and over and over until he got the gist of it. And this process, I see a lot of new students skip this. They want to just dive into it, either not go through the process, or they want to pretend that they already figured out. You have not figured it out.
Yeah.
The only way to understand fast is to understand slow. And that is the best thing I've seen Dave do as a teacher. And I applied it a few years later when I went to a Jason Ricci concert. He was playing in my neighborhood, and it was really an amazing show because he was playing to nobody at the time in this small club, and he played some of the most insane stuff I'd ever heard on any instrument. And I remember going to the internet, and there was a website where they would have bootlegs of live concerts, and I downloaded one of Jason's live concerts, and I said, I'm gonna figure out what he's doing. Is there some trickery to this? There wasn't. I slowed it down, and I went, oh, this guy is actually playing very musical things very fast. So the only way for me to play, if I ever do, which I never will play like him, but if I ever do, is to practice it slow, right? And that's, again, I'm reiterating, going back to that point. So that's one of the great strengths I've seen Dave possess, is to be humble and slow things down.
Oh yeah. That's so good. Just in general, like, no matter what you do, it's so good to have a mentor while doing it. If there's someone's playing you really like out there, just like focus on that person, you know? It doesn't mean that you're gonna sound exactly like him in the end. Not at all. You're gonna add your own stuff. It's gonna be added by itself.
Yes. And we shouldn't be sounding like each other. If we sounded like each other, we'd be clones. And the entire point of human creativity would be negated. We have to sound original. But a lot of the music that we play, we're not robots. We're not LLMs that are just doing things. We come from culture and tradition that's handed. These forms of music, they have existed. So we must learn from each other and then add on top, right? So it's a balance that needs to be found, and I often try to break myself out of the mindset. Like if I hear you play something, like on Instagram, right? If I hear like a Konstantin clip, I'm not going to dive in just knowing my capabilities. You know, I can't play like you, but if there's a small passage of notes there, you played like four cool notes that I think, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to chase that. And then somewhere, somehow, in a solo I'm playing in the future, it comes out in that way. And it came from you, but it's not you. It's through me, you know. And that
Right.
process is what we must, I think, be invested in.
Nice, yeah. Oh, Andre also asks about rhythm and like when did you start to play the drums and does it already help you now with the harmonica?
Yeah, 5 years ago when the pandemic happened, I've been very much a live musician. That's my investment. I haven't really invested too much in online, you know, doing. I did during the pandemic for a year, did do live streams and stuff, but that's not my main thing. What I try to do is play live. And during the pandemic, the whole thing just got decimated. So my whole process, my routine just was disrupted. And so I thought, well, I have one thing now, which is time, and I'm locked up in here. So this drum set was something that my drummer, the great June Core, uses when we rehearse.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why don't you just show me the basics? Because I have also been hosting blues jams for a long time. And I said, some days, if there's not enough drummers at my blues jam, I'll be the drummer. And if you can show me just a shuffle, a two beat, you know, and a funk or a rock groove, most blues jams you can get through that with that information. That was my purpose in pursuing it. But you know, I'm a musical person, so the moment I got even half good at playing a rhythm, I said, oh, I want more. So I've been now practicing a little more, you know, like half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, whatever I can get. I try to do that. And it's been really helping, just in general, my rhythm, my sense of time,
Yeah.
my sense of rushed versus laid back. Uh, it's helped me with my connection with my body, because it's amazing that your body is not the same every day, especially as you start to get older. Maybe when you're a teenager or your early 20s, you're in your prime, so your body just, you know, gets past all obstacles and does something good consistently. But you get older, every day is different. And so doing something that's so mechanical is helping me connect with my musical body. And then as far as the harmonica playing, absolutely helps. I think my timing has gotten better. My focus in my playing on rhythm has gotten more compelling. I just find myself playing more rhythmic things these days
Yeah.
that are uncomplicated than trying to chase real melodic things that will screw me up, which makes me happier as a musician. And also, as a band leader, I can now tell a drummer specifically what to do.
Right,
I
yeah.
can say, hey, please just do this. And, you know, if they are a respectful drummer, they immediately do it. They go, I know what you're talking about, and here, let me do it.
Yeah.
It just makes for a more favorable musical environment at my live shows.
Yeah. I mean that doesn't really connect with this, but I remember like a super early rehearsal of me covering like an electronic song, but I was playing with like a jazz quartet, you know. So like the drummer was like playing very quietly and softly. So I told him like you got to play the crash cymbal like on every quarter note on this part. Like it's he didn't want to, like, because it was a jazz guy, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's like
yeah. That's a tricky one, and that just goes to two different cultures of playing
Yeah.
drums. And it's kind of as a traditional blues guy, it is a little funny to me to see that, because the one of the most revered drummers, and maybe some folks in the comment sections who are blues people would recognize this name. There's a legendary drummer named Fred Below who has played on pretty much all of the legendary Little Walter, Chess Records, Muddy Waters, you know, Aces. What he was the drummer in the 50s. And the story is that he came originally from a jazz background before he transitioned to the blues. So a lot of his approach is a blend. But what is different is, and I tell sometimes a jazz drummer who has come to my blues jam to do this, I tell jazz people are heavy on the cymbal and lighter on the snare if they're playing a swing, and I ask them to switch that,
Yeah.
lighter on the cymbal and much heavier on the snare. And the moment this happens, because jazz musicians are some of the most well-rounded, well-equipped musicians with great facility. So a small adjustment like that can turn them from a very good jazz musician to a very useful and desirable blues musician. Sometimes it's just that little tuning. So like you were saying, that hitting on the crash, that could have been easy for him because
Yeah.
it should be, right? He's a seasoned musician, and sometimes people just don't want to do what maybe it puts them out of their comfort zone. I don't know what it is, but the drummers that are all ears have that kind
I
of
don't know,
mindset.
Jasmine. It was like he was like, "That's too loud for me."
Yeah, but it's not too loud for the gig, my friend. It's what the moment needs right now.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what situation you're describing because I've been through that several times before. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, some good comments here. Great show at Spa, Aki.
Oh, thank you. I had a good
Um,
band. I had a really good band, which was very. I'm grateful for. Again, good fortune. Thank you to Spa for arranging a great band, but a great drummer too, Joe Meyer, who I've known, and I actually have jammed with him in the past. I think,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. But once you get a good core group that is doing the fundamentals right, then you can just cruise on top of that. And so these guys, I have this, like you introduced me about this Bollywood blues sound. Bollywood blues is just me bringing Indian songs or Indian melodies, but playing it really with a blues approach. So all of my blues playing in a Bollywood blues setting is mostly blues. I'm playing Junior Wells, Little Walter. It's anybody that knows that stuff goes, oh, he's playing blues over a different kind of a song.
Yeah.
So I went to Spa with the mindset, I'm not going to do a bunch of Bollywood stuff. I'm just going to stick to Chicago blues as much as I like and as much as I appreciate it. And these guys in the band did a fabulous job. So I was able to put on the kind of show that I really wanted to. So thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Nice. Did you play any chromatic at all?
I used to, man. I don't even have one. I used to, but it
Okay.
was really third position chromatic, like William Clark and George Smith. And what happened was, I found that when I'm playing live, and maybe my assessment is wrong now, but this is from many years ago. Chromatic took a lot more air to play uh, in that style, where you're playing octaves, third position.
Oh, that's true.
Grueling is
Yeah.
monster player in that style. Grueling is really the inheritor, I think, Dennis Grueling, of that culture of chromatic playing, right? Swing, octave heavy, big horn lines. But for me, it always took way more air when I was playing live.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
I found myself turning the amp up, playing, and I don't have huge hands. So now all of a sudden I'm holding a bullet microphone like a maniac, trying to get the right angle for the right tone, hopping over 16 holes. And I finally said, this is just getting too loud for me. So I stopped playing it live, and I invested more in playing third position with octaves. And
Oh, yeah.
many times people will listen to me play third and go, oh, were you playing a small chromatic? And I go, no, I'm just playing third, but it sounds kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
So I've not been
I mean,
playing
William Clark
chromatic.
could also sound like amazing playing the diatonics in third position. Like,
Clark was a
definitely had the
different,
chromatic harmonica feel.
Clark was a different beast altogether, I think. He was just a heavy hitter on all fronts, singer too, he was just a big presence.
Oh, yeah.
So I realized trying to chase that is not suitable for my body. I'm taking too many hits. And so I have basically gone back to playing third position as best as I can in that style if I do. That doesn't mean I don't want to play chromatic. I love chromatic. I love great chromatic players, especially the jazz players. They make it so beautiful and so fluid. And, I'll get back to it someday. I really like the instrument. It's just I have too many things I'm invested in right now. And I cannot do all of them live at the same level,
Yeah.
Oh, I see a comment about Mark Hummel.
Can you share a cool story of you playing with Mark Hummel? Yeah, maybe during one of the blowouts.
Oh, there's many cool stories at the blowouts, Mark Hummel. But I'll give you a cool story of not playing with Mark Hummel about how he was also an early influence for me. Because um, one of the great things about traditional blues is you can, of course, listen to the great records, and there's, you know, a lifetime's or more worth of records to listen to and learn from. But you can also listen to all these great modern players live who are practicing the same craft but through their own voices. So one of the other big benefits of me being in San Jose was I got to see Gary Smith. He's a San Jose guy. Andy Just, who played with the Robin Ford band, a different style but still rooted in traditional playing. Mark Hummel, who is a West Coast musician, Rick Estrin, who lives in Sacramento, about 2-3 hours away.
Yeah.
And then from Southern California, I got to see Kim Wilson, Rod Piazza, whenever they came through. Mark Hummel was the first of the guys I saw live, playing with a real traditional quartet, doing absolutely traditional Chicago blues, amplified acoustic, West Coast swing stuff too. But I remember the first time I went to see him, it was at a venue called the Ivy Room. And I walk in and I sit down, and he wasn't on stage. It was just his band. They played a couple of songs. And then I hear like the loudest, amplified, fattest tone Jimmy Reed song. And it's this great Jimmy Reed shuffle, because he had a great rhythm section then. He still does. He always uses great rhythm sections. But that was a rhythm section that was helmed by a great drummer named Marty Dodson. And it's just a this fat Jimmy Reed shuffle. And Hummel was playing through a wireless unit. And I had never been to a show like that. So he was on stage. He was making his entrance from the back of the room, wandering through the crowd, playing this Jimmy Reed high end and low end first position. And honestly, I never heard anything like this. And if sometimes first impressions, if they're really good, when they really stick in your head, and that really helped me gauge how useless of a player I was at the time, and what left to be accomplished, what the gulf was in tone and sound and presentation. And so I went and bought two, I think, of his albums right away, listened to them. And so that's a cool, to me, that's a cool Mark Hummel story, because it shows you how, a more established musician affects and influences somebody that's up and coming in a big way.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, tell us about the harps you're using right now. I mean, you showed them on cam already, but these are customized rockets. Like, what's the setup? In which way are they customized?
Well, the comb is a specific composite thing that Kenya Pollard, who is Harpsmith himself, Mr. Harpsmith, he's a mad scientist, that he has devised. It's very comfortable. I am not going to get into the specific chemical composition details, because I have no idea, and I'm not that guy. What I know is it's very comfortable. And I transitioned to this from a very comfortable harp I was playing, and I still have them. Obviously, I have dozens and dozens of them. I have Seidel 1847s, which were very comfortable.
Oh, that's what you played before, okay.
Yeah. But it was a big change from there to this, because it's a totally different size. The whole spacing is different, different response. But the reason I switched, honestly, and to be fair, I know this is a Hohner live stream, and I am playing this Hohner harp, but the reason I switched was because it was Kenya, who I've respected for many years, who came and just gave me these prototypes, and he said, please try this, see what you think. And I spent 6 months playing them, and then slowly trying to bring them to my live shows to see how his customization of these harps were helping me. And they're so efficient, I'm not working as hard as I would with an out-of-box harmonica. Now, to make a true comparison, I'd really have to get a handful of rocket harmonicas that are out of the box, and then stack them up against these custom rockets that I'm playing to give you an honest opinion, which I haven't done, to be fair. But just this instrument that he builds, which he really spends time on the reeds, and sets them up for me. Um, it has made it such a brilliant instrument that my acoustic playing is better. I used to want to learn how to play D. Ford Bailey style blues. I'm more inspired to play it now with this setup because it's so easy to manipulate. I don't have big lungs, so it just makes my life easier. And I have really taken to these harmonicas. And if you are looking for a great custom harmonica, I highly recommend this. You go look him up, Harpsmith. He builds these off of rocket harmonicas,
Yeah.
and I think marine bands too. Although I only have one of those. That's a wood comb, I think. And man, they are absolutely worth it. He's the guy who pays specific attention. He doesn't kind of delegate and have 15 other guys build them for him. He is the mad scientist. He has built this process. I've been to his lab. It is impeccable. It's insane the way he works, and I highly recommend it. Harpsmith, and check it out. The website is up and running, and you can order harmonicas. These rocket or I think marine bands as well.
Yeah. So why do you like the Rocket better than the Special 20?
I think I like this comb that
Okay.
Kenya has put in there. I said I have not played that many out of box rockets, so I'm not qualified to give you an honest side by side. The guy who should and probably has done that is Ronnie Shellist, because I know he has played out of box rockets, and I know he used to play marine bands or special 20s.
Okay.
And he will be the guy to tell you specifically why he likes those. I have not done that kind of side by side. This is an unfair analysis. I'm using customized rockets compared to everything else, so I couldn't tell you. I just know that I really love this customized rocket, and the fit and the vibe and the feel and the responsiveness and the brightness is really good for me. So that's that.
Yeah. Konstantin, how did you like the interview with Howard? I listened to the first part. Still got to check out the second one. But I heard like Howard Levy talk about so many things. I checked out everything he ever put out. So
That's a genius right there. I'm talking about a mad scientist. He's wow.
yeah. What's like one advice you can, or do you teach harmonica at all?
Yeah,
Do you have students online, or do you also teach in person?
I've done both things. I have more in person these days, which is just a handful. But I do teach online. But what I tend to teach is specifically, I don't think I want to teach beginner student online. That's not, I don't think I'm the best guy for that. But if there's an intermediate blues harmonica player that's doing blues things, and they want to kind of improve their playing, I do teach that. Specifically, people write me and they say, hey, I heard this on this video that you did. Can you show me how to do that? And I'll do a very specific lesson for that thing. Sometimes people go, hey, I just want to improve my tongue blocking. I want to get some soloing advice from you. I do that too. But the thing is, I don't advertise myself as a teacher primarily because we're in, I think, the golden era of harmonica instruction. There's so many great teachers in so many different styles that have literally offered their content sometimes, like Jason does his stuff for free, online. I know Grunling teaches. I come from the Barrett School. Felisko teaches. I know you teach, Konstantin. There's a gentleman up in Sweden. I saw a bunch of his clips. Phillips.
Yeah.
He teaches. Why the hell will I?
Everybody
teach?
teaches, yeah.
So I don't advertise myself as that because there's better teachers and more experienced teachers than me in different styles that are. But if you specifically want to learn something from me about something specific I'm doing, I'm more than open to that. I'm teaching workshops here in the Bay Area coming up. I'm also teaching in Portland, or very close to Portland, Oregon, in October at this beautiful retreat. It's called it's called Harmonica Northwest at the Manucha Resort. And I teach a 2-day workshop there with Ross Garin, Kim Field, Joe Filisko. So I do teach. I
Yeah.
just don't introduce myself and say I'm a harmonica teacher.
Yeah, I got
I'm really more of a
it.
live performer.
But in case you're teaching like in person, like
Yeah.
and the beginner in person, like what's the first thing you're telling them? Like what do you start out with the beginner?
Ah, great question because I had to think deeply about that because my journey as a beginner was so,
Yeah.
kind of hodgepodge. Was not well managed, and I would like them to avoid that journey. So one of the things I've found, and in fact I'm going to employ this, and I have done this in the last couple of years because I get to teach a workshop at a very nice venue called the Freight every year, and it's specifically a beginner workshop, and it's only one hour, and they get like 25, 30 students, and so there's a Hohner harmonica who I'm trying to remember the name. It's a very special harmonica, 4 holes only.
Oh yeah,
And
right.
what it is, it's holes 4 through 7 of the diatonic, so major scale, and the holes are spaced out wider, almost twice as wide as a normal harmonica. So the big problem with the beginner, and this is why the harmonica is a difficult instrument, unlike piano or guitar or drums, on all those instruments to play the most discrete kind of individual sound, you can do it. I can put a finger on a piano, I can place a finger on the guitar fret, I can hit a drum and get the smallest fundamental unit of music to happen in instantly. On the harmonica, it is not possible to play a single note cleanly if you just started, unless you are just a freak, a genetic freak whose DNA was designed for harmonica. You're likely going to struggle to play a single note. Then you're going to have to figure out how to shape your mouth.
Yeah.
So I recommend beginners start with this Hohner harmonica. I wish I could remember the name, but I'm sure they can look it up, and I'm sure you know, Konstantin, what it is.
Shit, yeah.
And so they don't have that hurdle, that barrier to entry. They can start playing major scale and understand the other mechanics, which is inhale, exhale, lateral movement, those things, how to hold, how to cup maybe, how to do a wah-wah without running into this big basic problem of how am I playing a single note,
Yeah.
right? So then once they get good at that, then I tell them, hey, now get a cheap, not an expensive, don't buy the top line Hohner, get the more entry level Hohner, get the blues harp, whatever, or whatever, Sidella, whatever brand you like. Get that entry level and then try to make single notes. Because if you cannot make single notes to happen with comfort, then everything else is not going to happen comfortable. Forget about bending or tongue blocking and all that. Those are advanced skills, right? And people come and they go, I want to overblow. And I'm like, buddy, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Even
I mean,
don't overblow well. So like,
even
what are you talking
even
about?
with bendings, like most people probably start to try playing them too early.
Way too early. I know I did.
Yeah. I mean,
I know
almost
I did.
everybody did, but yeah, like looking back, it's like there's so much stuff to do with like the notes that are available and so advanced stuff and
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think, one of the good things that happened to me is that I started in my mid-20s, not in my early teens. Because by my mid-20s, I think I had just been listening to music more than playing it, and I had more appreciation for the beauty in simplicity. Sometimes you can do lots of great things with 4 notes. And, I just had a really good 15, 20-minute lesson with this great Cajun harmonica player. He's 88 years old, Jerry DeVilliers. He's a legend in the Louisiana Cajun harmonica. And he played the simple melodic song, which is a well-known song. It was new to me, but well-known in his genre. And he showed me, he goes, this is the 5 levels of playing the song. And he played it to me live.
Wow.
I have it on my phone because I instantly recorded it. And what were the 5 levels? It was the same notes. It was the same melody, played the same rhythmic way. Nothing was different. He was just adding one thing on top of another, a little effect. The notes were simple, but by the end, the song was complicated, and there's no way I'm playing that the way he
Right.
did until I practice. So simple things have a lot of value, and I think beginners sometimes don't appreciate that. They want to go for the heavy techniques, the big sound, the complicated overblows, and blah blah blah. That stuff is very good, but so is good, simple major scale playing.
Yeah, for real. Hohner Speedy.
Speedy, yes, I highly recommend this harmonica. I used this to teach a bunch of 12-year-olds, and I taught them once a week for about 8 weeks. And by the end of this, they were able to bend notes on it, and they never
Oh yeah.
touched a normal harmonica.
Okay.
So they were able to do scale exercises, play, learn a song like "You Are My Sunshine," bend notes. I have a friend named Richard Taylor in Brighton in the UK. He's a great harmonica teacher. He's the one who recommended this to me. And if you guys are based in the UK, talk to him about it and his experience. He uses it as part of his teaching too.
Good. Yeah. Oh, talking about your records, yeah. The one with Gary Smith and David. Like, did you all wrote that masterpiece? Did you do the songwriting together?
David did.
Okay.
David is a very prepared individual. He doesn't ever come into a recording session unprepared. So
Oh yeah.
he prepped for this. Some things he left to us. Like I have an instrumental on there, and I think there's one song at least that I sing on there that was totally, he just wanted us to do what we do.
I see.
The
Yeah.
instrumental that I played, it's called Bombay Stroll, and I half prepared for it. And the reason I half prepared for that was because I don't do well if I'm fully prepared. If I'm fully prepared, I choke because I put too much pressure on myself, and I screw it up. So I've realized there's a balance point for me. Go in with enough preparation and then improvise beyond that, and then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I did on Bombay Stroll. But for the songs that you are listening to on that record, and it's called It Takes Three, that's the name of the record, that are all three of us playing, or if it's Dave and Gary playing, it was some preparation went into that, especially the harmony parts. David really thought through them, told us what harmony parts to play, and we practiced those before we recorded them. The solos were totally improvised, of course, and there's no other way to do that. But the chorus, the hook, those were well prepared, and all full credit for producing that goes to David Barrett. Um,
Nice. Yeah. I mean, how about your latest record? Like, you recorded and produced it
right here.
by yourself, right?
Yeah, right here. This is the recording room I used, which is my garage.
Yeah.
I have curtains like on two walls. That way I can, if I ever do a live stream, which I haven't done in a while, but if I do a video, it looks like a nice little club, right? And this is the drum kit I used. You can see two overhead microphones, very
Yeah.
cheap condenser microphones. I used all of the SM58s, SM57s I had. Uh, uh, I borrowed a couple from Kid Anderson 57s, stuck them on all the amplifiers. You see all these old amplifiers I have here: Silvertone 1432, Gibson GA10. I used those. Basically, what I did was I took what was the basic skills I learned during the pandemic from doing live streams,
Oh yeah.
and I kind of applied a more sophisticated approach to mix my album. And I didn't want to overcomplicate it, so I used GarageBand, and I didn't download any additional plugins. I used the reverb and the delay, and some of this kind of I forget what it's called. It makes
Chorus.
the sound, chorus, kind of warble. I used that on one song. Um, I just had fun with it, and the big advantage
Yeah.
was, unlike previous records I've done, which have been you book the recording session in a studio, you go in with the band all at once, you have to do some rehearsal preparation sometimes, or you don't, in which case you rehearse at the studio on studio time. You only have 2 days, sometimes just one day, a lot of pressure. If you're lucky, you get to go do the vocals overdub later. But for me, I always had problems with especially the vocals because I'd go in having sung the night before at a club, like my voice is worn out and I'm recording vocals at noon the next day.
Yeah.
So all those problems, I just bypassed all of that by doing this record at home. Full control over the mix. I'm singing into this microphone at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Where my voice is great, believe it or not.
Of course, yeah.
You know, so I just went in and did what I wanted to. I had full creative control. So it's a crazy record. It's a lot of blues, but then also a lot of reggae.
Yeah.
I do this Indianized version of a song called Sissy Strut by the Meters,
Yeah.
which I'm really proud of because I brought these Indian, not Indian players, actually Indian classical players, but they're American guys. They sat right here. I recorded them, and I hand-pieced their parts and mixed them into this mix in GarageBand, like like slicing tape, but moving these pieces around. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out, given how low budget it was.
Back to computer software.
But I didn't want to go overboard with the computer software, so I kept it simple because I really wanted to use. If I was smart, I would use Logic, or I would really upgrade to.
No.
What's the most popular one?
Pro Tools.
Pro Tools. I would have bought Pro Tools and done that. But then I have to spend 6 months learning this damn thing, and I don't. I want to spend that time getting better at fourth position. I just don't have time. I want to play drums. I don't want to learn software. I did that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Nice. So what's next for you?
What's next? I'm just trying to get better at everything, man. When I was doing the day job and playing music on the side, I used to think, someday when I don't have the day job, I'm gonna have 8 hours a day to practice, and I'm gonna be great, and I'm gonna just sit. None of that is true, because the moment you don't have a day job, then getting work becomes your day job, and getting to the gig becomes your day job, and keeping your health and your instruments in shape becomes the day job. So all the time I thought I had is time I actually don't have.
Yeah.
So my big focus now is, if I'm playing 5 nights a week, how do I still find the time and energy to practice and grow, and still explore things creatively that I want, instead of falling into a rut or hitting a plateau? That's my plan right now, is to do that. And maybe I'll do a record. I want to do a really cool traditional blues record, which I haven't done in a long time. My first record was very traditional blues. I want to go back and do that again.
Cool, yeah. So we got these monthly harmonica challenges on Twitch going on.
Oh.
The next one is going down on Sunday. Just adjusting.
What's a challenge? What does that mean?
It's just like a topic, and then people can record themselves playing within that framework.
Within that framework. Okay.
And then people can win some harmonicas. So
there's an
this
incentive
month
to be challenged.
This month is going to be third position blues.
Okay.
That's the topic, as chosen by Michael Peloquin. So, I mean, you can pick next month's topic. You got any idea? It could be like something restrictive concerning the instrument, a specific style, a specific position, a specific technique being featured, whatever.
I like the idea of restricting to certain portions of the harp. This is another thing David Barrett used to focus on, which I didn't focus on too much because I didn't appreciate it. But I like the fact that you brought it up. I think a good challenge is kind of restricting yourself to just, hey, I'm only gonna solo over 4 holes. I'll pick the holes.
Okay.
1 to 4, maybe 2 to 5, that kind of thing, because it really it makes you work hard and appreciate.
So 4-hole harmonica challenge.
Yeah, something like that would be cool, I think.
I like that. Yeah, because at the same time, people are super free in terms of what they gonna play or improvise, which style of music, whatever. Could be anything.
Yeah, but make the most out of little. I think is always going to make you a better musician. Because it's easy to make more out of more. You know, it's like the famous. I think Yingwei Mao's team has a quote. He goes, "What do you mean less is more? More is more." Right?
Yeah.
Of course, more is more, but making more out of less, I think, is a true discipline.
But that's wonderful. Yeah, that's a good topic. We're gonna do that. Perfect. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to join us. That was
Thank
fun.
you for inviting me, man. I really enjoyed the chat, and I should mention this. I have really, I'm a big fan of your playing, because and I've
Thanks,
sent your videos before I even realized who you were. I've sent your videos to other players or other just people, like, going, check this out. This is what you can do on the harmonica. So I really think you're an incredible ambassador as a musician who plays harmonica to show what this instrument can do. And someday in another lifetime, maybe I'll get the kind of chops and technical skills you've got to pull out the notes. It's really incredible. So well done, Konstantin.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. See you on Sunday for the Third Position Blues Challenge. Check out the description box below. I put all the links to Aki's social media and website and Spotify and whatever, so you can check out the album and follow on Instagram. Yeah, where are you most active on? Which platform?
I think Instagram is best. Facebook is just a bunch of spam bots and dead accounts these days.
Okay.
Instagram is probably the best place to follow me. I do have a Facebook page, Aki Kumar, and I have a Facebook group where I post a lot of my upcoming shows. So Instagram stories. That's probably best.
Good, yeah. And then there's also the information about the challenge in the description. So yeah, Sunday 6 p.m. German time. See you then. Yeah, thank you, mustard gentleman.
I love it. This is gonna stick. No more cookie or more.
All right, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
My lady, you know me, no give up on you never. Wanna be with you forever, 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 forever. Oh baby, where we they go? Now forward ever, backward never. Them they pray make we run down never, 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 never. I'ma get back, low. Girl, you're the best I know. Our next move, they never know. They never know. Money go check, I know. Girl, you're the best I know. Our next move, they never